Late 2019, I bought the game called Pathfinder Kingmaker 1 year after its release, after seeing some gameplay online, and because of that curiosity, I ended up updating my favorite games of all time list, as the Owlcat Games RPG jumped right into my number 10 spot. And believe me when I say that, only a few months later, I was over the moon, as they came with a trailer for Kingmaker's indirect sequel, Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Now, I've already made a video talking about the Kickstarter and what I want in the new experience, so I won't go too much into that. However, as I'm a supporter of the game, like so many others, I was allowed to test out their closed beta. And after having streamed a bit and played some of my off time, I wanted to make a video on my impressions. Though, please keep this in mind, this is a beta that I played, so what you see and what you will hear and so on can change and some things will change. And there are some stuff that are not complete yet, etc, etc, etc. Important that you guys know that. For example, the UI, the animations, certain writing is not there, blah 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 blah. Let me also make it clear that I usually hate playing demos, betas, or early access on story-based games, as there's always the feeling of,
That can't be it. Where's the rest of it?
yeah, it's just tougher to go into early access of these kind of games than, let's say, fighting games or something more competitive. But as I was really excited, I just couldn't help myself. Plus, I'm only allowed to show stuff before Chapter 3. So that being said, I will keep this as spoiler-free as possible, so you won't see much even of Chapter 2 here. Let's begin with what was first noticeable when starting this game. It looks visually so much better than Kingmaker. That's not to say that the previous game looked bad, but more that they are upgrading everything they can. Far greater detail on models, the world, animations, the look of spells, etc. I was pretty floored with some areas even that you could visit, and oh my god, look at this place! It's so beautiful! So visually, I would say that they've improved in every single way, which is great, and also a sign that they're going all out, right? They could have just used the same stuff from Kingmaker and keep it in the same style and everything, and I would say that everyone would be fine with that, since it is the gameplay and the story that hooked people so hard with that adventure. But these owls just went nope. Another thing that I noticed early as well is the insane amount of character customization they've added on to the already fantastic character creator. Every class has gotten 3 more archetypes, where Kingmaker had 4 types of each class, including like the main one, if you will. Wrath of the Righteous has classes that have like 7 types, plus more classes in general. And keep in mind, all of these have so different play styles, creating so many possibilities for playing the game. And that is not including the game's new big spotlight mechanic, the Mythic Paths. As I didn't go that deep into the beta, as again, I don't want to spoil myself too much before the game comes out, the Mythic Paths are closely related to the story, and you will decide on how to move on through it. Again, I don't know too much about it, but from what I experienced, again, I will go a bit deeper into it. As mentioned in the trailers and interviews and so on, you will have the opportunity in going on a path to greater power, like becoming a merciful angel, a hateful demon, or a terrifying lich. And these are not some small add-ons to your class types. These will majorly affect your journey, both gameplay-wise and narratively. Seriously, some of these mythic powers are ridiculously powerful, like being able to rage without any daily limit, having way more spell slots for your spellcasters, or allowing your bow users to constantly improve their aim for every arrow they let loose. And later down the line, it will get even more insane. So much, in fact, that, again, I don't want to spoil it, but best way to describe it, it would be like this. The developers are not afraid of giving you some game-breaking tools, and yes, again, characters will react to these choices. You know, being an awesome RPG, choices and consequences. How you start the Mythic Paths and so on, again, we'll not go that deep into. But from what I can gather, at the end of Chapter 2, that's when you will fully decide on what path you want to take. But it will be, as already said, be linked to the narrative, so your path will, you know, lead through the entirety of the game. It's not like you will just quickly level through it and blah blah blah. It's a long grind, and I have a feeling that it will be excellent. Your companions will also get their own sort of mythic path to follow, but not nearly as deep as your main character. Though we already know that depending on some of your decisions, some of them will change drastically in different ways. The best picture we currently have, or like, if you will, the example we can use, would be our succubus friend, Arushalay. Arushala? Okay, there's not that much voice acting implemented yet, so please excuse my horrid pronunciations of this lady. That being said, I think I'm going to go full evil when the game comes out, as then she will be
I love it!
And speaking of companions, man, they are so fantastic in every shape of the word. Design, story, what little voice acting that can already be heard. In Kingmaker, there was a thematic consistency that I adored with the friends of the ruler of the Stolen Lands, but here, they're also vastly different, whether it be Ember's childlike look of the world, Sela's happy-go-lucky personality in this bleak setting, or Darren,
Dylan!
charming mug, and then we have my favorite so far, who just so happens to be voiced by my favorite character in Kingmaker, Wenduag, the Spider Lady. They're all top tier, at least so far. Who knows, maybe later down the game they will butcher their writing and the character, but I highly doubt that. But you know, from what I've seen so far, amazing. And I will say that considering that some of these characters will change depending on the choices you have, it will just add on to the insane replayability. Either through some, romances promised, or how they will, again, change based on your story decisions. And as we are on changes, the biggest negative I had with the older game was how it had a hard time telling you how the game worked mechanically, as it didn't really have a good tutorial. Here, however, it's fantastic, going through everything that is worth knowing gameplay-wise without, making it feel like it's just holding your hand, leading you down one corridor. Because the thing I loved the most about Kingmaker was just the openness on how you wanted to play the game. And it seemed like they're going for the same thing here, which is so good. They have also updated how the game feeds you information. For example, you can't have stacking buffs, if you will, of certain characters when it comes to, well, let's say armor and bracers and stuff like that. So the game will show you specifically what doesn't work. Oh, fuck! Ah! So yeah, quality of life stuff implemented, and quality of life stuff will always just be improvement, right? So thumbs up there. I do hope, though, that they will add on a visual indicator on scrolls that you can scribble down into your spellbook, rather than going through them all one by one, which is something that I did in my second playthrough of Kingmaker. It was kinda grueling. Something else that was sadly grueling was some issues I faced during my beta time. Now, yes, I was mentally prepared of facing some issues as this is an unfinished game. However, it happened when I came into a completely different gameplay style in Chapter 2, the army management system. During their Kickstarter, one of their stretch goals were army combat, highly inspired of Heroes of Might and Magic, which fits greatly considering the people of Owlcat were parts of the Heroes 5 dev team. Some of them. I don't know how many, but I know that some of them were. And personally, I grew up with some of these games. Heroes 3, of course, which is considered to be one of the greatest games of all time. It's like up there with, the big ones. And then there was Hero 4, my personal favorite in the franchise. And later I played Hero 5, which, you can clearly see that there are some similarities here. I mean, look at this. Again, this is beta, and they have straight up said that army combat, army management, and everything like that is extremely early. So everything you see here will probably change, but I mean, look at the similarities. Pretty similar. So what was my issue then? Well, I came across one bug that made my armies go minus 90 morale. Yeah, like their morale was minus 90, meaning that my troops would flee constantly during battle, making it almost impossible for me to win some tussles without reloading constantly. Overall, I really liked what I'm seeing here. I really liked when it worked for me. And I'm so excited in having the army reflect on my decisions outside of it, like being a lich raising armies of undead, or a demon summoning hundreds of succubi who will talk their way to victory. Like in Heroes 5. Yeah, I just feel like it's an amazing add-on, and it fits the setting even of a demonic invasion so well. But again, that bug, it really took away a lot of the enjoyment out of my time in the beta. That being said, again, I like what I'm seeing so far. I also want to make a quick note on how amazing the music is. There is still some older pieces used from Kingmaker. I do believe they are placeholders. But man, the new stuff? Yeah, I can't wait to get a hold of the soundtrack. Some tracks are beautifully melancholic, whereas others go fully epic in its demonic invasion setting.
The first blood.
I also will say that where Kingmaker changed its thematic music, if you will, based on your alignment on your kingdom. If you were evil, it sounded more, bombastic and brooding. If you were good, it sounded more holy, if you will. Here, you will get a specific musical track depending on your mythic path. And some of them are chef's kiss. Why is it so good? The music was fantastic in Kingmaker as well. Anyways, guess what I'm trying to say is that it makes the story feel grander than the more intimate story in the last journey we had. Overall, my time in Wrath of the Righteous beta was a good one, with the occasional issue that I expected considering just, again, beta! But everything that is being promised here, either through presentation, gameplay, or the narrative, whether it be the characters, companions, or your own journey through the Mythic Path, has severely boosted my hype for the game. If Owlcat ever watches this video, first of all, hi. And second of all, this is your time to prove that you're not some one-trick pony. Kingmaker turned into the deepest CRPG I've ever played, and I played quite a few of them. And if the beta is telling me anything, then yes, you guys are making some amazing games. I am super excited. I can't make that clear enough. And I will keep rubbing my hands in anticipation for their full release. But until then, I'm KingJGrim, or the dude that may have an unhealthy relationship towards bony people, whatever you prefer, and I'll see you guys next time!